As amazing as these places are, they're not very accessible for most people. Just imagine in the glow of firelight or under the sun. For many visitors, this gallery is an eye-opening experience.
In contrast to Western art, where depictions of sexuality have often faced censorship.
So we took a bus from Cusco to Lima, and let me tell you, it was a journey I won't forget. Imagine being on a bus for 27 hours straight. That's right, 27 hours. We thought we were prepared, but nothing quite prepares you for that long in a seat. The bus itself was functional, I guess you could say. It wasn't super fancy, and the seats were kind of cramped. But we were excited. As we started driving out of Cusco, we watched the city disappear behind us, and soon enough, we were winding through the Andes. The mountains were gorgeous, covered in snow in some parts, with little villages tucked away on the hillsides. For a while, just looking out the window kept us entertained. But then things got real. The window next to us had a little crack, and as the bus moved down these dusty roads, dust started to seep in. We tried covering it with scarves and everything, but it just kept creeping in, and soon enough, we were covered in a thin layer of dust. To make things worse, it got freezing cold as we climbed higher into the mountains. We didn't have blankets, so we just huddled together, trying to stay warm. It was rough. And the restroom? Oh, that was another adventure. It was tiny, smelly, and not somewhere you'd want to spend any time, especially for a 27-hour ride. We joked that you needed an iron stomach to survive it. After a few hours, it felt like the journey was testing every ounce of our patience. Just when we thought we couldn't take any more, we met this adorable puppy named Luna. She belonged to a woman sitting a few rows up, and at some point Luna wandered over to us, all curious and friendly. She was this tiny, scruffy little thing, only 4 months old, and somehow managing the ride even better than we were, stroking her soft fur for just that moment. We felt a little better, like we weren't completely alone on this adventure. But yeah, if you're ever thinking about taking a bus from Cusco to Lima, I definitely think twice. It's an experience, but maybe not one I'd recommend if you're looking for comfort. One of the biggest things I noticed right away was just how insanely developed Lima is compared to a lot of the other cities in Peru. In Cusco, everything felt so compact, like the whole city was intertwined with its history, and you could sense it in every street and building. But Lima? It's on a whole different level. Modern high-rises, bustling highways, a very urban lifestyle. It almost felt like we had landed in a different country. That contrast was even more noticeable because of the bus journey we'd just taken. Passing through so many towns and villages on our way from Cusco to Lima, we saw how underdeveloped much of the country really is. A lot of places seemed like they were just holding on, with simple houses, dirt roads, and almost no modern infrastructure. It made me realize that in Peru, there are really two worlds, the fast-paced, modern world of Lima and the quiet, traditional, sometimes struggling reality in the smaller towns. One thing we couldn't help but think about was the cost of traveling within Peru. It's no secret that getting to places like Machu Picchu can be expensive, too. Expensive, honestly. Take the Inca rail, for example. We had to spend $200 each just to get a one-way ticket. And it's not like you have much of a choice. There aren't many affordable alternatives to reach these iconic sites. I kept wondering, where does all that money go? You'd think some of it would be reinvested in the infrastructure or the communities around these sites. But from what we saw, that's definitely not the case. We thought back to the hydroelectrica trek we did and how hard it was to get there without spending a fortune. It's frustrating because, as amazing as these places are, they're not very accessible for most people. I kept thinking, if the Incas could see what's happened to their sacred sites, they'd be devastated. These places hold such profound historical value, but they're treated like cash cows, without much thought to accessibility or preservation. But let's get back to Lima. One thing we loved was how close you feel to the ocean all the time. There's this fresh, salty scent in the air, and you can almost always catch a glimpse of the sea in the distance. We spent some time in the Miraflores area, which is right along the cliffs overlooking the Pacific. It's absolutely breathtaking. Cliffs dropping down to the waves, surfers riding the water, and these beautiful parks that line the cliffside. There's a famous park there called Parque del Amor, or Love Park, with these huge, colorful mosaics and a statue of a couple embracing. People come here to take photos, have picnics, or just sit and watch the sunset.
Everywhere we went, we kept coming across these old colonial roads and buildings, mixing in with the more modern parts of the city. Some streets are lined with these beautiful old mansions with Spanish-style balconies, and it makes you feel like you're stepping back in time, even as cars zoom by and people rush around. The city's history is alive in its architecture, and it's like Lima is constantly balancing its colonial past with its modern present. In a way, being in Lima was kind of like reading Peru's history. You could see the remnants of the Spanish influence everywhere, but there were also these hints of ancient Inca culture still lingering. Even though the Spanish tried to erase it, some things survived and are still visible, woven into the city's identity. As much as I was enjoying Lima, I couldn't help but feel that tug to explore the rest of Peru. This country has so many layers: wild landscapes, small towns, ancient sites, and big cities. And each part is like a chapter in a story that's thousands of years old. We knew we still had so much to see, but for now, Lima was showing us its own version of Peru, one that was vibrant, chaotic, and deeply rooted in history. There's just something about Lima that gets under your skin. It's fast-paced and intense, but it also has these little pockets of peace, like the ocean views and the parks. By the end of our days here, we'd usually find ourselves by the water, just watching the waves roll in, reflecting on everything we'd seen. Lima was giving us a lot to think about. Imagine we're standing right here in Lima's Pueblo Libre district. You see, a journey that takes us back thousands of years. Today, a legacy that covers over 5,000 years. Artifacts preserved with a passion to share them with generations to come. This mansion was built atop a 7th century pre-Columbian pyramid. You're literally on centuries of history stacked one upon the other, with pristine white adobe walls and lush gardens that Lima's busy streets outside. The Moche civilization, thriving along Peru's northern coast from around 100 to 700 AD, is one of the most intriguing and artistically advanced cultures, represented in the Larco Museum. Known for their remarkable skill in ceramics, metalwork, and grand architectural structures, the Moche people left behind a wealth of artifacts that offer a vivid window into their world. Each piece reveals elements of a highly structured and ritualistic society, where complex hierarchies governed. Daily life and spiritual beliefs played a central role. The Moche culture was rich with symbolism, and their ceramics are especially famous for depicting everything, from daily scenes to powerful deities. Exploring these artifacts, you can sense the intricacies of their customs and the depth of their beliefs, qualities that continue to captivate scholars and visitors alike. One of the most captivating aspects of Moche culture is undoubtedly its art, especially the ceramics. The Larco Museum houses one of the world's largest collections of Moche pottery, which highlights an astonishing range of forms and subjects. Moche artisans were exceptional at crafting lifelike depictions, using clay to capture the subtleties of human expression, animals, and even supernatural beings with remarkable detail. These pots are unlike any others. Look closely, and you'll see faces with deeply etched lines, furrowed brows, and a spectrum of emotions. Each piece seems to tell a story, revealing the complexity and individuality within Moche society. The artistry speaks not only to their technical skill, but also to their deep understanding of human nature and the world around them, making the Moche collection a profoundly moving part of the museum's experience. Moche ceramics had roles that went beyond artistry. They served both practical and ceremonial purposes. Some vessels were used for everyday storage or consumption, while others held deep ritual significance, adorned with scenes of mythological battles, sacred ceremonies, and even sacrificial offerings. One figure you'll notice often in Moche pottery is the warrior priest, a prominent and powerful symbol. These figures are typically shown in elaborate headdresses, wielding symbolic weapons, embodying a dual role as both warrior and spiritual leader. Warrior priests weren't just fighters. They acted as intermediaries between the human and divine worlds, overseeing rituals believed to maintain cosmic balance. Their presence in the pottery is a reminder of the Moche's deeply spiritual worldview, where leaders carried the weight of both earthly and divine responsibilities.
The Moche were not only master ceramicists, but also incredibly skilled metalworkers, and the Larco Museum's Gold and Silver Gallery highlights some of their most awe-inspiring creations. Moche metalwork was far more than decoration. It carried deep symbolic meaning. Gold, representing the sun and associated with divine power, was worn by the Moche elite to symbolize their close connection to the gods. Silver, connected with the moon, held its own distinct significance, representing a different facet of the spiritual world. The museum displays elaborate headdresses, ear spools, necklaces, and bracelets that Moche nobles would wear during ceremonies. Just imagine, in the glow of firelight or under the sun, these shimmering ornaments would have created a dazzling, almost otherworldly effect. Each piece was crafted not only to adorn, but to evoke a sense of awe and reverence, highlighting the Moche's reverence for the cosmos and their place within it. Although the Moche left no written records, their art speaks volumes, providing a vivid narrative of their beliefs and values. One of the most iconic scenes in Moche art is the sacrifice ceremony, a ritual thought to uphold agricultural fertility and maintain cosmic balance. This scene, depicted on numerous ceramics and murals, portrays a high-ranking figure, possibly a priest or priestess, holding a goblet as the blood of a sacrificial victim is poured into it. Surrounding this central figure are other participants, dressed in elaborate attire, each with a specific role in the ritual. This scene highlights not only the Moche's spiritual beliefs, but also their highly organized and hierarchical society. Every detail of the ceremony, from the costumes to the roles of each participant, reveals a culture deeply rooted in ritual and cosmic order, where each individual had a designated place in sustaining the cycle of life and divine harmony. Moche art goes far beyond depictions of warfare and sacrifice. It also reveals a profound reverence for nature and the supernatural. Their pottery frequently features animals from their coastal environment, foxes, seabirds, and even mythical creatures believed to hold spiritual power. To the Moche, these animals were more than just part of the natural world. They were sacred beings, imbued with divine qualities, serving as protectors, guides, or omens. The Moche viewed themselves as living in a world intertwined with both visible and invisible forces, and their art reflects this spiritual understanding. Each creature portrayed on their ceramics carries meaning, embodying the belief that nature itself was animated by powerful spirits, and that humans, animals, and the supernatural existed in a delicate, interconnected balance. Through their art, the Moche left a legacy of their worldview, showing us a culture that found the divine not only in the heavens, but in the creatures and landscapes surrounding them. The Moche civilization was highly hierarchical, with a structured social order that placed a ruling elite at the top, followed by warriors, artisans, and farmers. This rigid structure is vividly reflected in their burial practices, some of which were incredibly elaborate. A prime example is the 1987 discovery of the tomb of the Lord of Sipan, a Moche ruler whose burial site contained an astonishing wealth of treasures: gold, silver, intricate jewelry, and finely crafted artifacts. The grandeur of his burial, along with those of other high-ranking figures, reveals that the Moche held deep reverence for their leaders, marking their passage with lavish ceremonies and offerings. For the Moche, death was not an end, but a transition, a journey into another realm where leaders continued to hold influence. Their belief in the afterlife shaped their rituals, and these elaborate burials stand as powerful testaments to a society that honored its leaders with the highest regard, reflecting the Moche's deeply spiritual and hierarchical worldview.
Despite the grandeur of their art and society, the Moche were ultimately vulnerable to the forces of nature. Evidence suggests that environmental changes, particularly prolonged droughts and severe El Niño events, may have played a significant role in their decline. These climate disruptions would have deeply impacted agriculture, weakening the Moche's ability to maintain their complex social and religious structures. As these hardships grew, the themes in Moche pottery began to shift, capturing scenes of conflict, displacement, and desperation. It's as if the Moche were visually recording their struggle to cope with a world they could no longer control. Their art, once a celebration of life, hierarchy, and divine connection, started to reflect their fears and anxieties, illustrating the devastating toll of these environmental stresses as they grappled with the unraveling of their way of life. Through these depictions, we catch a glimpse of the resilience and humanity of a people facing the profound challenges of survival. Today, the Larco Museum serves as a guardian of the Moche legacy, inviting visitors to connect with a civilization as intricate and vibrant as any in history. Each artifact tells a story that transcends time, stories of power, belief, resilience, and creativity that resonate with universal human experiences. The Moche civilization reminds us that even in the face of daunting challenges, cultures strive to express beauty and strength, maintaining a profound connection to the forces that shape their world. As you walk through the museum, you're not just observing artifacts from a distant past. You're engaging with symbols of human perseverance, with objects that embody the spirit and ingenuity of a people who lived, dreamed, and created in ways that continue to inspire us. The Moche legacy, preserved in these halls, is a testament to the enduring power of human expression, even in the face of adversity.
One of the most fascinating and talked about sections of one of the most unique and surprising features of the Larco Museum is its erotic gallery. This collection, unlike anything you'll find in other archaeological museums, displays an extensive array of ancient Moche pottery focused on themes of sexuality and fertility. For many visitors, this gallery is an eye-opening experience, offering a glimpse into the Moche's open and nuanced views on life's most intimate aspects. These artifacts challenge our modern assumptions about ancient societies, showing that the Moche embraced sexuality as an essential and natural part of life. Their pottery reflects a culture that explored these themes with remarkable openness and depth, viewing sexuality and fertility as central to their existence and worldview. The gallery reveals yet another facet of Moche society, underscoring their holistic approach to the human experience. For the Moche, sexuality was an intrinsic part of life, woven seamlessly into the natural cycles of birth, death, and the rhythms of the earth. Their art reflects this holistic perspective, portraying sexual acts and themes with a realism and detail that can be both surprising and profoundly insightful. The Moche ceramics in the Larco Museum's collection depict not only explicit sexual scenes, but also representations of fertility rituals and childbirth, illustrating their nuanced understanding of sexuality.
These artifacts reveal that, for the Moche, sexuality was deeply connected to spirituality, life cycles, and social customs. Rather than something separate or taboo, it was an integral part of existence, respected and acknowledged in all its forms. The Moche's open and expressive approach challenges modern perspectives, offering us a window into a society that embraced a comprehensive view of the human experience, where every facet of life was intertwined with the sacred. In contrast to Western art, where depictions of sexuality have often faced censorship or been shrouded in secrecy, the Moche approach was straightforward and deeply symbolic. For the Moche, these scenes were not designed to provoke or shock. They represented natural forces and spiritual beliefs with a sense of reverence. Sexuality, to them, was a powerful, creative energy, intrinsically linked to the cycles of life and the sustenance of their world. The Moche viewed sexuality as sacred, connected to fertility, the continuity of life, and the harmonious functioning of society and the cosmos. Their art reflects this belief, portraying sexual themes as part of a larger spiritual landscape. Through these depictions, the Moche expressed a respect for sexuality as a fundamental and natural force, honoring its role in ensuring both human and cosmic balance. A prominent theme in Moche erotic art is fertility and reproduction, reflecting a society that placed immense value on agricultural productivity and the continuation of its people. Living in a land where survival hinged on the Earth's capacity to yield crops, the Moche saw a profound connection between human fertility and the fertility of the land itself. Many of their ceramics illustrate scenes that symbolize this link, depicting human procreation alongside imagery associated with agricultural abundance. To the Moche, the forces of human and agricultural fertility were deeply intertwined, almost as if they were one and the same. Their rituals and depictions around sexuality and fertility likely served as spiritual acts to secure a successful harvest and maintain a harmonious relationship with nature. Through these practices, the Moche sought to align themselves with the rhythms of the earth, ensuring both the prosperity of their society and the renewal of the land that sustained them. Interestingly, not all Moche erotic art focuses on reproductive acts. In fact, some of the most intriguing pieces in the erotic gallery depict non-reproductive sexual practices, which have led scholars to explore a range of possible meanings. These depictions may reflect metaphysical beliefs, or they might honor ancestral spirits. One prominent interpretation suggests that these ceramics were used in funerary rituals, symbolizing the cycle of life and death. To the Moche, life was seen as a continuous cycle, emerging from the earth and ultimately returning to it. The scenes on these vessels may reflect this cyclical worldview, portraying sexuality as a pathway between realms. For them, sexuality wasn't solely about procreation. It was a bridge connecting the human and spiritual worlds, linking the earthly with the divine. In these portrayals, we see how the Moche used sexuality as a sacred metaphor for transformation, continuity, and the balance of life's eternal cycle, rituals symbolizing the cycle of life and death. To the Moche, life was seen as a continuous cycle, emerging from the earth, and ultimately returning to it. The scenes on these vessels may reflect this cyclical worldview, portraying sexuality as a pathway between realms. For them, sexuality wasn't solely about procreation. It was a bridge connecting the human and spiritual worlds, linking the earthly with the divine. In these portrayals, we see how the Moche used sexuality as a sacred metaphor for transformation, continuity, and the balance of life's eternal cycle. The Erotic Gallery also offers fascinating insights into Moche, views on gender roles and identity. The figures depicted in these ceramics include both men and women in various roles and acts, often challenging the distinctions we might assume from a modern perspective. This suggests that the Moche may have embraced more fluid understandings of gender and identity, especially within their spiritual and ritual practices. For the Moche, sexuality was not simply a private or personal matter. It was a communal and ceremonial experience, woven into the fabric of cultural and cosmological beliefs. Through these depictions, we see how sexuality was deeply integrated into their worldview, serving as a conduit for expressing not only personal identity, but also collective values and spiritual meanings. By exploring these ceramics, we gain a glimpse of a society that understood gender and sexuality as dynamic forces, essential to the harmony and balance of both human society and the cosmos. The discovery of Moche erotic artifacts has profoundly shaped modern understandings of this ancient civilization. Early archaeologists encountering these pieces were often puzzled about how to interpret them. Many were hesitant to display them publicly. Some artifacts were even stored away, considered too controversial or confusing by Western standards.
Over time, however, as the study of Moche culture expanded, anthropologists and historians began to recognize the sophistication of these works. Scholars realized that the Moche approached sexuality with an openness that was rare and illuminating. These ceramics weren't merely artifacts of a distant past. They were windows into a worldview where human connection, fertility, and cosmic harmony were intertwined. Today, these pieces are celebrated not just for their artistic detail, but for the unique insights they offer into how ancient societies understood and celebrated the rhythms of life. Through these artifacts, we are invited to appreciate a culture that embraced a holistic view of existence, where every aspect of life held meaning in the grand cycle of creation. Today, the Erotic Gallery stands as one of the Larco Museum's most popular sections, drawing visitors from around the world who are intrigued by this candid window into ancient life. Far from being sensationalized, the gallery serves as a bridge across time, offering a profound connection between contemporary viewers and the intimate lives and beliefs of the Moche. For the Moche, sexuality wasn't something to be hidden or shamed. It was a powerful, sacred force deserving of respect and reverence. These artifacts invite us to challenge modern assumptions about ancient societies, reminding us that human cultures have long embraced diverse and meaningful ways to honor and understand the essence of life. The gallery is a testament to the Moche's holistic worldview, celebrating sexuality as an integral part of existence and underscoring the timelessness of human connection and spirituality. For modern audiences, the Erotic Gallery at the Larco Museum offers more than just a glimpse into Moche art. It's a powerful reminder of the importance of understanding cultural context. The Moche's artistic focus on sexuality challenges visitors to set aside modern moral judgments and view these works through the lens of a society that saw life as an interconnected whole. In the Moche worldview, every part of existence, birth, death, sexuality, spirituality, was woven into the cycles of nature and the cosmos. Sexuality was as essential and sacred as any other life force, seamlessly tied to the rhythms of the earth. By engaging with this art, visitors are invited to explore a perspective that celebrates life in all its dimensions, honoring the beauty, mystery, and interconnectedness of existence. This experience encourages us to broaden our own understanding of human expression and the ways cultures throughout history have embraced life's many facets. Entering the gold and silver gallery at the Larco Museum is like stepping into a world of shimmering wonder, where each relic reflects the deep spiritual beliefs of ancient Peru. For civilizations like the Moche, gold and silver were far more than precious materials. They were symbols of cosmic order and divine power, embodying the forces that governed their lives. Gold, with its warm, radiant glow, was linked to the sun and symbolized life, vitality, and authority. It represented masculine energy and the power of the living world. Silver, in contrast with its cool, reflective sheen, was associated with the moon, the night, and feminine energy, embodying the mystery of the unseen and the cycle of renewal. Together, these metals expressed a harmonious balance between sun and moon, life and death, masculine and feminine. In this gallery, the intricate headdresses, ornaments, and ceremonial pieces invite visitors to glimpse a worldview that saw beauty and meaning in the natural cycles, reflecting a society deeply attuned to the cosmic forces shaping their existence. The artifacts in the gold and silver gallery stand as remarkable testaments to the Moche's skill and their profound reverence for these sacred materials. While many societies valued gold and silver mainly as currency or adornment, the Moche saw them as sacred substances, reserved for the highest spiritual and social functions. Objects made from these metals were not intended for everyday use. They held ceremonial significance and were worn exclusively by the elite class, those who acted as intermediaries between the human and divine realms. Priests, warrior kings, and other figures of high status adorned themselves with intricately crafted jewelry, headdresses, and ornaments, transforming themselves into embodiments of divine power. Through these adornments, they didn't just reflect wealth or status. They channeled the celestial qualities of the metals themselves, symbolizing sun, moon, life, and death. Each piece allowed the wearer to visually and spiritually bridge the earthly and cosmic realms, underscoring the Moche's belief in a universe where the material and spiritual worlds were deeply interconnected.
A centerpiece of the gold and silver gallery is the collection of ceremonial headdresses, each an intricate masterpiece adorned with feathers, shells, and jewels. These elaborate headpieces embody the Moche's profound connection to both nature and the spiritual realm. Many of the headdresses feature depictions of animals revered as powerful spiritual symbols, such as the jaguar, owl, and condor, each chosen for its unique qualities and connection to the divine. For the Moche, these animals held special abilities. The jaguar, a formidable predator, symbolized strength and protection, while the owl, with its ability to see in the dark, represented wisdom and insight. The condor, soaring at great heights, was seen as a messenger between the earthly and celestial realms. When members of the Moche elite wore these headdresses, they weren't just displaying wealth or status, they were channeling the power and essence of these animals. The headdresses allowed them to project an aura of divine authority and mystical knowledge, transforming them into living embodiments of the spiritual forces they revered. Through these symbols, the Moche expressed a worldview in which humans, animals, and the divine were all interconnected, each drawing strength and wisdom from the other. Among the remarkable artifacts in the Moche collection are the earrings, or ear spools, crafted with exquisite detail from gold and inlaid with vibrant stones like turquoise and lapis lazuli. These were not mere ornaments. They were symbols of status and authority worn by high-ranking individuals to signify their elevated place within the social hierarchy. The size and complexity of these ear spools directly reflected the wearer's rank, with larger, more elaborate pieces reserved for the elite. Many ear spools feature intricate designs, such as birds in flight or stylized waves, each motif chosen for its symbolic connection to the natural world and cosmic balance. Birds, for example, represented freedom and a link to the skies, while waves signified the life-giving power of water and the cyclical rhythms of nature. For the Moche, wearing these ear spools was more than a display of wealth. It was a declaration of their spiritual connection to the forces that governed life. Through these symbols, the Moche elite expressed their role as custodians of cosmic harmony, drawing on the power of the natural world to reinforce their divine connection and social authority. The necklaces, bracelets, and breastplates on display in the Larco Museum beautifully showcase the Moche's exceptional skill in metallurgy. One especially striking necklace features gold beads interspersed with polished turquoise, creating a vivid contrast between the earthy, rich tones of the stones and the luminous sheen of the gold. Designed with remarkable precision, the necklace reflects the Moche's belief in balance and symmetry, symbolic of the cosmic order they held sacred. The artisans behind these masterpieces were highly respected figures in Moche society, possessing not only remarkable technical skill, but also a profound understanding of the cultural and spiritual significance of their materials. Crafting with gold and silver was more than a craft. It was a ritual act that required transforming raw elements of the earth into objects imbued with spiritual power. For these artisans, each piece had to be created with meticulous care, as any mistake could be seen as a sign of disrespect to the divine forces that gold and silver represented. This careful, reverent approach meant that Moche metalworking was both an art and a sacred duty, a practice that connected the human and divine realms. In shaping these materials, artisans became intermediaries, honoring the earth and its cycles while producing objects that would bridge humans with the gods. Through their work, they upheld the Moche's values of balance, respect, and cosmic order, embedding their creations with both beauty and spiritual significance. In addition to the Moche artifacts, the gallery houses remarkable pieces from other pre-Columbian cultures, including the Chimu and Inca, each with its own rich tradition of metalworking. The Chimu were especially skilled in crafting large ceremonial objects from silver, creating impressive breastplates and crowns that symbolized their devotion to the moon. These grand pieces, often worn by the elite during rituals, reflect the Chimu's deep connection to lunar symbolism and the feminine qualities they associated with silver. The Inca, on the other hand, were known for their extensive use of gold to adorn temples and ceremonial spaces, viewing it as the sweat of the sun. For the Inca, gold held a sacred connection to the sun god Inti, embodying the life-giving warmth and power of the sun itself. Though each culture expressed its unique artistic style and spiritual beliefs, they all shared a profound reverence for gold and silver. These metals were not merely decorative, they were sacred links to the divine, central to rituals and beliefs that connected their world with the forces of nature and the cosmos. Through these artifacts, we see a shared cultural thread that honored gold and silver as bridges to the spiritual realm. The Gold and Silver Gallery at the Larco Museum transcends mere displays of wealth or ornamentation. It is a profound reflection of how ancient cultures like the Moche, Chimu, and Inca perceived their place in the cosmos. For these civilizations, gold and silver were far more than precious metals. They were embodiments of divine light and cosmic order, symbolic links to the sun, moon, and the forces governing their world.
The objects crafted from these sacred materials served as conduits to the gods, helping the elite achieve harmony with both the natural and spiritual realms. Each piece was created with reverence, intending to honor and connect with the divine forces that sustained life. Walking through this gallery is like journeying through centuries of belief, creativity, and spiritual reverence. It offers a rare chance to witness the legacy of Peru's ancient artisans and their timeless bond with the sacred, a connection that continues to inspire awe and respect across generations. In the quiet, softly lit rooms of the Larco Museum, these ancient treasures seem to come alive. The warm gleam of gold and the soft shimmer of silver invite visitors to pause, to reflect on a time when art served as a bridge to the divine. These artifacts are far more than relics. They are voices from the past, echoing a worldview that saw metals not merely as rare or valuable, but as sacred materials capable of connecting humanity to something greater. The Gold and Silver Gallery stands as a radiant tribute to the artistry, spirituality, and profound beliefs of Peru's ancient civilizations. It invites us to step into a world where craftsmanship and spirituality intertwined, where each piece was crafted with purpose and reverence, celebrating a vision of life that embraced beauty, cosmic harmony, and the mystery of existence. This gallery, with its timeless treasures, honors that vision and invites us to reconnect with the sacred through the eyes of those who came before.
Among the many cultures that have shaped Peru's rich history, the Nazca stand out for their captivating and mysterious legacy. Best known for the Nazca Lines, vast geoglyphs carved into the desert plains of southern Peru. The Nazca civilization thrived from around 200 BC to 600 AD. These immense designs, depicting animals, plants, and geometric shapes, continue to intrigue scholars and visitors alike, hinting at a complex worldview deeply intertwined with nature and spirituality. The Larco Museum offers a window into Nazca culture through its remarkable collection of ceramics and textiles, each piece infused with vivid iconography that reflects their spiritual beliefs and reverence for the natural world. Nazca art is renowned for its bold colors and symbolic motifs, portraying animals, deities, and scenes connected to fertility, water, and the cycles of life. Through these artifacts, we gain insight into the minds of a people who sought to communicate with the cosmos, creating art that endures as some of the most enigmatic and powerful in human history. The Nazca lines, sprawling across the barren Nazca Desert, depict enormous figures of animals, plants, and geometric shapes, each extending hundreds of meters. These vast designs are best appreciated from above, revealing a mysterious grandeur that continues to captivate and puzzle archaeologists. While much about the Nazca lines remains uncertain, many scholars believe these geoglyphs held religious or ceremonial significance. Given the Nazca people's reliance on agriculture in an unforgiving desert, it's thought that the lines were created to honor deities associated with water and fertility, vital forces for sustaining life in such an arid landscape. The monumental scale and the effort involved in constructing these lines suggest they were far more than artistic expressions. They may have served as sacred pathways or messages to the divine, designed to communicate with gods and invoke their blessings. Through these immense and enduring symbols, the Nazca likely sought to forge a bond with the natural and spiritual forces that govern their world, leaving behind a legacy that speaks to the depth of their beliefs and their reverence for the cosmos. The Larco Museum's collection includes an array of Nazca artifacts, primarily ceramics and textiles, that feature motifs similar to those seen in the Nazca lines. These pieces reveal that the geoglyphs were not isolated works but part of a larger iconographic language deeply embedded in Nazca culture. Stylized representations of animals, plants, and abstract shapes appear frequently on Nazca pottery, each symbolically significant and reflective of their worldview. Recurring images of animals such as the spider, monkey, and hummingbird suggest that these creatures were more than decorative. They likely represented powerful natural forces or deities within Nazca beliefs. The spider, for instance, may have symbolized rain and fertility, while the hummingbird, drawn to flowers, could have represented life's renewal and vitality. These motifs demonstrate a consistent, interconnected visual language that permeated every aspect of Nazca life, showing a culture that saw the divine woven into the natural world and expressed it through art that endures to this day. A central figure in Nazca iconography is the anthropomorphic mythical being, a powerful creature that blends human and animal features. Often portrayed with wings, claws, or feline fangs, this figure is thought to represent a deity associated with fertility and water, two essential elements for survival in the Nazca's arid desert environment. The Nazca revered this being as a guardian of rainfall and crop growth, a sacred figure they believed could control the forces necessary to sustain their agriculture. The Larco Museum's collection of Nazca ceramics includes pots adorned with this mythical figure, underscoring its importance in Nazca spiritual life. These depictions hint at the religious rituals likely conducted to honor this deity, seeking to ensure abundant rainfall and favorable conditions for agriculture. Through these artworks, the Nazca express their deep connection to the natural forces that shaped their lives, with the anthropomorphic mythical being serving as both protector and intermediary, bridging the human and divine realms in their quest for survival and prosperity.
Among the most revered artifacts in the Larco Museum are the Inca textiles, which held profound spiritual and political significance in Inca culture. The Inca regarded textiles as gifts from the gods, and weaving was considered a sacred act, often entrusted to akalakuna, or chosen women. These women, selected from noble families across the empire, were trained in the art of weaving from a young age, producing fabric specifically for religious rituals and imperial ceremonies. Inca textiles were primarily woven from alpaca and vicuña wool, highly valued for its softness and warmth. The fibers were meticulously spun, dyed with natural colors, and woven into fabrics adorned with patterns that reflected social rank, clan identity, and the Incas' cosmological beliefs. Each textile served not only as a garment, but as a symbol of status, spirituality, and connection to the divine. These pieces illustrate the Incas' sophisticated artistry and their deep respect for weaving as an expression of their relationship with the natural world and the cosmos, preserved today as a testament to their enduring legacy. A prominent and intricate pattern in Inca textiles is the tacapu, a series of square or rectangular motifs arranged in grids. Each tacapu design held specific meaning, representing information such as the wearer's social status, occupation, or regional origin. Garments adorned with tocapu were often worn by high-ranking individuals, including the Inca emperor, as a form of symbolic language that conveyed their authority and divine right to rule. The tocapu was a unique way of encoding complex concepts visually, allowing the Inca to communicate status and identity through textiles. This symbolic system reflects the Incas' sophisticated worldview and their belief in the interconnectedness of all aspects of life, social, political, and spiritual. By embedding meaning into their clothing, the Inca integrated art, communication, and cultural identity, demonstrating a profound understanding of how textiles could embody and express the essence of their civilization.
Beyond honoring deities, the Nazca Lines may have also served as a cosmological map, aligning with celestial bodies and seasonal cycles. Some researchers suggest that certain figures correspond to constellations or solstices, indicating that the Nazca used the lines as an astronomical calendar. This interpretation reveals the Nazca's sophisticated understanding of the cosmos and their ability to incorporate their environment into spiritual practices. For the Nazca, their connection to the universe wasn't just a passive belief, it was an active, dynamic relationship, observed and celebrated through art, ceremony, and the intentional shaping of their landscape. The lines, then, were not only sacred pathways but tools for harmonizing with the rhythms of the heavens, reflecting a worldview that placed humanity in continuous, purposeful interaction with the cosmic forces around them. Through these geoglyphs, the Nazca demonstrated a remarkable blend of scientific observation and spiritual devotion, leaving a legacy that embodies both their artistry and their profound connection to the natural world. The mystery of the Nazca Lines remains, yet the artifacts in the Larco Museum provide valuable context, situating these geoglyphs within the rich tapestry of Nazca culture. The ceramics and textiles, with their vibrant imagery and intricate symbolism, reveal that the figures etched into the desert were part of a deeply spiritual worldview. For the Nazca, the world was alive with forces that shaped their existence, forces to be revered, honored, and possibly influenced through ritual and art. The geoglyphs, much like the other art forms created by the Nazca, served as conduits to the divine, expressions of a culture that understood itself as intimately connected to the earth, the sky, and the very essence of life. Through these lines, the Nazca sought not only to communicate with their deities, but also to affirm their place within a universe alive with spiritual significance. The Nazca Lines endure as powerful testaments to a civilization that celebrated and engaged with the cosmos in ways that continue to inspire wonder today. Standing in the Larco Museum, visitors gain a deeper appreciation for the grandeur and mystery of the Nazca Lines, realizing that these figures are not just drawings in the sand, but part of a profound cultural dialogue with the cosmos. These geoglyphs, etched into the desert and still visible today, stand as a testament to humanity's timeless desire to reach beyond the visible world, to connect with the unseen forces that shape existence. The Nazca remind us that art can be more than an aesthetic pursuit. It can be a bridge to the divine, a means of transcending the limitations of time and space to express reverence, hope, and connection. Through their lines in the desert, the Nazca left behind a legacy that speaks to the power of human creativity as a way of reaching toward the sacred, reminding us that our world, too, is part of a vast and mysterious universe.
The Inca Empire, known as Tawantinsuyu, was the largest empire in pre-Columbian America, stretching from modern-day Ecuador to Chile and encompassing a remarkable diversity of climates, cultures, and landscapes. This vast civilization, which thrived from the early 15th century until the Spanish conquest in 1532, is renowned for its monumental architectural achievements, advanced agricultural innovations, and a highly organized political system that enabled it to maintain cohesion across diverse regions. The Larco Museum's collection of Inca artifacts offers a window into the spiritual, social, and political life of this sophisticated empire. Each piece reflects a culture, deeply connected to its environment and committed to unity and order. Through these artifacts, visitors can explore the legacy of the Inca Empire, understanding how its influence endures as a vital part of Peruvian identity today. The museum's collection captures not only the grandeur of the Inca's material accomplishments, but also their profound spirituality and reverence for the natural world, offering insight into an empire that shaped the Andean region in ways that still resonate. At the core of Inca culture lay a profound reverence for nature, expressed through the worship of gods and spirits, representing natural forces like the sun, moon, mountains, and rivers. Leading the Inca pantheon was Inti, the sun god, whom the Inca believed to be their divine ancestor. They called themselves Children of the Sun, a title that symbolized both their sacred origins and their duty to maintain harmony between humanity and the natural world. The Larco Museum's collection includes numerous Inca artifacts, such as golden sunburst amulets and ceremonial vessels, that reflect this deep veneration for Inti. These objects underscore the sun's essential place in Inca cosmology, not only as a life-giving force, but as a divine symbol, guiding their social and spiritual lives. Through these artifacts, we can glimpse a culture that viewed nature as sacred, with the sun at the heart of their beliefs and practices, a source of power, protection, and cosmic order in their world. One of the Larco Museum's most treasured Inca artifacts is a golden disc believed to symbolize the sun. Intricately engraved with radiating patterns, this disc likely played a central role in sacred ceremonies, possibly within the Coricancha, the Temple of the Sun in Cusco. The Coricancha was the empire's holiest site, adorned in gold and filled with offerings dedicated to Inti, the sun god.
Hey there! If you enjoyed this video, you're definitely going to love the next one. Trust me, it's packed with even more adventures and hidden gems.
And don't forget to subscribe. We've got so much more coming up, and you don't want to miss any of it.
Exactly! Hit that subscribe button and turn on the notifications, so you're the first to join us on our next journey.
And if you're curious about what's coming up, check out this video right here. We've lined up a lot of surprises. Don't forget to hit subscribe, turn on notifications, and let us know your favorite part in the comments. We'd love to hear what you think. Got suggestions for future videos? We're all ears.
See you there! Thanks for being part of our adventure, and we can't wait to explore with you in the next one.